Hello, and welcome to the Consider Your Mind podcast. I'm your host, Eric King, and along with my co host, Mino we're here to talk about all things mental health. Let's get into it.
All right, hello everybody. Welcome back to the Consider Your Mind podcast. This week is episode number 10.
The ace, double
Big old
digits.
10, baby. That's a good milestone.
Yes.
Sir. Last week we talked about dealing with failure. So if you missed that, go ahead and check it out. It's episode number 9. And this week we're going to be talking about physical health. We talk about the mental a lot. We can't forget about the physical as well.
Absolutely.
And how that affects you. So obviously I'll be sharing a piece of me again to let y'all know that this is also something that I deal with. But we'll dive into that a little bit later on. And
But nice, man. Let's just celebrate. Yo, man, we get 10 episodes, bruh. Just hold on, let me pause real quick, man, and reflect on
wild.
that. Man, 10 episodes deep in this thing, like looking on the little playlist thing on the website, those you visit the webpage, consideryourmind.com. Underneath the podcast tab, we have our kind of playlist of all the episodes. And man, like seeing like 9 hours, we got so far, about to have 10, almost 10 hours after this. It's a blessing, man. So we thank you for everybody that continues to listen to us, taking time out of your busy day to go ahead and interact with the show, man. We do really appreciate it, and we wouldn't be here without y'all, man. So thanks to everybody for continuing to support the show, continue to encourage us to keep this thing moving, man. The Consider Your Mind movement is definitely moving right now. So.
Yes, sir, it is. I mean, again, and for me as well, I want to thank you guys for allowing our voices to be around your living room, your headphones, and to have a serious conversation about what's going on in today, our everyday struggles and everything with our mental health and everything, and sharing our experiences. And we would love to hear from you guys as well. So, if you want to reach out to us, leave us a message. We're on all social medias. You can reach us through Facebook. We got a community page out there. You guys got questions you want us to, answer or talk about certain topics, let us know.
Yeah, absolutely, man. We're here to serve the people and give y'all give us great topic ideas. And shout out to speaking of topic ideas and all of that good stuff. Shout out to the Never Legal Podcast. I did that last week. I was on there, promoting Consider Your Mind. So it's a local podcast here in St. Louis. So shout out to the Never Legal podcast family. It was a good time, and it was my first time on camera in a long time. That was kind of interesting. Like looking back at it, I haven't even made it through the whole replay because I'm like, wow. So kind of seeing where we can go, because they got a whole studio set up. That's a whole studio that they have, and they use it for multiple podcasts. So again, thinking of ideas, ways to do things going forward in the future. That was definitely inspiration. And collaboration is what this thing is all about. And once you start, we're in this podcasting space, I'm starting to figure out what other people are also doing this as well, and in what capacity. And one thing I shared with you today was this thing I saw from Damon Dash, the Rockefeller Records, founder, along with Jay-Z. He has this thing called Healing is Gangsta. Which was so cool. It's a podcast or like a show that he does, with Fox Soul and this actual licensed therapist called Tej Monero, where it talks to, people in the streets, but also, rappers, entertainers, but, in a very raw way about healing and therapy, So it's so cool. Once you start putting your tentacles in and starting, open your eyes and looking for it, there's a lot of resources out here, people. There's a whole lot of resources, a whole lot of people doing a lot of positive things in the mental health space. So as you continue to support us, definitely go ahead and look out for other things, like that as well, man. It was so cool watching it, just to see people keeping it real, just like we're doing here. People keeping it real about what they're going through in their mental health and in their daily lives.
Yeah, man, definitely. I still gotta check that out myself, and it seems like a really interesting take. Like again, it affects everybody. Mental health it doesn't care who you are, where you're from, what you do for a career, anything like that. Mental health deals with pretty much everyday problems, everyday people, and so it's nice to see that, it's not just a stereotype where, mental health is for the weak. Nah, it's for everyone. You got a problem that you're dealing with, seek help, speak up. Holding it in is not going to help you, man. It's just keeping things bottled up, too much pressure, things explode. You don't want that to happen. So But yeah, well, today we're gonna be talking about physical health. I don't know if you deal with any physical health on a day to day, other than the snap, crackle, and pop morning routines when you get up out of bed. But
Oh man, those
yeah,
age,
yeah,
yeah, those
man.
aging sounds. Wake up and make a noise.
You know, you gotta get the good right amount of stretch before you can actually put your feet out of bed.
Hmm.
But yeah, you dealing with anything? Any things that
Um,
I guess affect your day to day?
you know what? I'm blessed to be very healthy. I've never broken a bone.
Ooh,
I'm not gonna say I'm blessed, man. I've never broken a bone. Never had a cavity. Only had one surgery to get my wisdom teeth taken out. Just a couple years ago.
ooh, how was that?
But my stuff is just only. It was cool, man. Didn't have to go under
Oh,
or nothing
really?
like that. I was able to stay awake. Yeah. So it really wasn't that bad, man.
Oh,
Had to
so,
get all four of them done.
so you
Took
were
it like a
lucky.
G. Took it like a G, man. But the only real things that I have to worry about, and I'm reminded when I'm in the gym, but it's old war wounds. I dislocated my shoulder, many times.
Mm.
Started when I was 15, in I guess water kind of accident. Hit the water flat, boom, shoulder popped out. And then since then, I've had a torn rotator cuff, so it's
Ooh.
popped out several times since then. Kind of definitely derailed the football and athletic, career in a sense, man. I had to miss games for that. And then also my meniscus in my right knee. I tore that when I was like 14,
Oh.
in football, but it just never did nothing.
Huh.
I see it now when I'm doing the leg extension. Today I got exposed. It's so funny you asked about this because I was doing the leg extension thing, and all of a sudden I felt it in that knee, and this
Mm.
little piece of cartilage kind of like pops out,
Oh.
in my knee. I can feel it, I can still like push off and everything, but it's something I literally have to stretch back out, bow, pop in. I was like,
Oh
dang.
man.
So again, that happened to me when I was 14, but now it's like, oh crap, yeah, that thing I gotta deal with, or oh yeah, don't do the backstroke, if I'm swimming, they took care of that. Um,
Yeah.
so it's nothing that I have to really think about too much on the daily, but it is something that I think it is psychological, that I do think about and maybe holds me back sometimes, in
Man.
terms of my range of motion.
Yeah, man. It's tough dealing with, especially with your
Hmm.
knee too. And you don't notice it when you're young. When you're young,
Didn't
you're
mean
young
anything.
thundercat.
Yeah, it didn't mean
Nothing can
anything.
stop you. You know, and you'll feel it years later.
Hmm.
That's
The
that's
more
the damn
wounds.
truth. Damn truth,
Yeah,
I
the
should
more
say.
rooms, man. It reminds you. But besides that, like I said, I've been pretty healthy. Obviously, I wear glasses, so that's my handicap. So there you go. That's what I did. That's my daily struggle. If I don't find my glasses, I'm in trouble. So
Mm.
maybe I'll get that LASIK one day.
Oh man, have you seen them do the
No, I don't watch
procedures?
the no, 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 no. I watch enough gross
Yo,
stuff.
yo, it's wild. I don't know if any of y'all have seen the procedures or heard about the procedures for LASIK. I don't know if it's the only way to do it, but yeah, oh man, just look it up on YouTube. Y'all know what I'm talking about. They literally slice your eye open and it flaps over or something, and then they laser that, and then they fold it back over. That's why you got your
My
eye patch on
goodness.
for like a couple of days. Yeah, it's a thin layer, and they got this contraption thing that keeps your eyelid. Oh yeah, it's crazy.
Okay, all right. So moving right
Yeah.
along. What's going on in your life, me? All right.
Oh
Keep on with these
man.
glasses I got. That's what I'm gonna do.
So can, I guess we could start getting a little bit real.
Yeah, man.
Uh,
Always.
so when we're talking about physical pain, I go through a lot. My body has went through a lot. I was a very athletic uh, person at one point in my life. I just like to be active. Did many things that kids do: play sports, run around, jump trees, thinking I could jump off buildings and all that fun stuff. And well,
Parkour before it was cool.
right. But I've dealt with many injuries. As I was a soccer player, so I got a lot of leg injuries, ankles, knees.
Hmm.
It's just hip. At one point, it was my hip. I was a goalie, and
Yep, landing.
when
Yep, you land.
when you play soccer and you're not a professional, the fields you play on it's not ideal.
That's a
You
great
got
point. Yeah, I
little
remember the
divots.
fields.
when the ball rolls, you figure it's just gonna roll. Nope, there's a divot down there and pops up, and just yeah. And when you're a goalie, those areas just look like mud and rocks. That's what it looks like. You ever been to a soccer field? Y'all know what I'm talking about. The rest of the field looks green, beautiful, but then the goalie spot is like dirt. It's like different. No grass here, but I've been played on some fields, and I remember there was a low shot. I saved it, but when I landed, my body was still flying to the side that I was diving, but my hip got caught on the ground, and I kept splitting my side. Muscle kind of ripped around the side, and I never got checked out. I just took it, and nowadays my hip kind of hurts when I try to lift my leg.
So you think you like tore your muscle, like tore one of your like your muscles around your hip? But
Yeah,
just
something
didn't.
like that. Something ripped because it felt warm
Okay.
on my side at that time. But yeah, that's pretty much one of many. I've had surgeries as well. So, just I won't bore you all with all the details, but so we'll just jump right into the main thing here. So I'm just gonna tell y'all most of my story.
Yeah, yeah, keep it real, man. Hey, man, take your time. As again, one of the things we're about on this show too is never being messy, never telling all our business. You know what I'm saying? Again, this is boundaries are important and it's healthy. So whatever you feel comfortable sharing, hey, man, do that. But that's about it. We ain't gotta go no further than that.
Yeah. So back in 2017, I was at work. I started a new job, and didn't feel right one day during training. So I just said, you know what, I'm gonna go home to get a little rest, and I went to sleep at like probably 2, 3 in the afternoon. I woke up at midnight, sweating, just fever, everything. Like I was chilled, cold, hot at the same time. Didn't know what was going on, and I went back to sleep. And I would wake up every several hours, thinking that it's only been like a day or two. My brother came downstairs and says, "You okay? Do you need to go to the hospital?" And I'm like, "No, I'm just sick, just trying to sleep it off." I was like, "What day is it?" He was like, "It's Friday." And when I went home from work, it was Monday.
Whoa.
I lost track of time, and it was just like, and I was like, you know what, bro, just let me sleep it off. In the morning, I'll decide what to do at that point. So I felt,
So hold on, recap. So you went to sleep on Monday
yeah,
and then didn't wake up until Friday.
pretty much on and off. I kept waking up, but I was thinking that it was like the same night. You know what I mean?
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
yeah. So I woke up the next day, still felt like just very sick. I go upstairs, and this is like around August, so it's like summertime in Minnesota. It was pretty hot, and I remember reading the thermostat, and it was being like 92 at 9 in the morning. But I was cold. I was shivering. I had sweats on. I said, "All right, bro, just take me to the hospital. I don't, whatever." So we get to the hospital. They're checking me in, and after being there for several hours, the doctor came in and said, "So why are you here?" I was like, "Just a fever or something, or the flu. I don't know." And then the doctor says, "Oh, okay. Well, you actually have pneumonia in both your lungs." I was like, "What?" So they're gonna have to admit you. I'm like, "Okay, that's fine. Whatever."
Pneumonia. That's when like your lungs are filling up with fluid.
Yeah,
You're cold.
yeah.
Yeah.
And so they admitted me in the hospital. I was there for another day or two, and then they came back with more test results. And it's like, "Is there anything that we should know about?" La, la, la. I'm like, "No, why?" It's like, "Well, your kidneys took a big hit. You're gonna have to start dialysis in like a month." I was like, "Whoa, what?" No warning, and I was just like trying to grasp what do you mean dialysis?
That's a shock, straight up.
And he was like, "Well, your kidneys, they got damaged pretty bad." And I'm like, "Well, it's gonna heal itself, right? That's what the body does." And he was like, "Well, in your case, it's just too damaged, and there's other things going on because I'm diabetic and I had high blood pressure." I'm like, "Oh." So I had to let this sink in. I'm like, "What's going on?" And my, I guess you say, ex-fiance at the time, that's another story, but she couldn't come see me while I was in the hospital for about a week. I get home, told her what's going on, updated her everything, and obviously she was supportive at the time. And 2 days later, I get a text message she wanted to call it quits. Okay, and that's that.
Man.
So within a week, and I had to deal with that after 6 years. Being with somebody, it's hard to just forget about things,
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
and trying to deal
And
with the fact that I'm gonna have to go on dialysis within the next couple of weeks. So that's a hard thing to deal with, and
it's a lot of stress.
yeah, life changed my career. Everything is just done. I can't go to work anymore, or try to at least, but it's not the same.
Yeah.
And
And so you said this was 5 years ago, like
yep,
2017?
2017.
2017. Okay.
So, we'll fast forward, and I remember the first day. Well, pretty much, let's just say this: your kidneys, if you guys don't know, is a very important piece of organ in your body. It literally does everything for you. And I guess my kidney issue was been, I guess, on a downward spiral for a long time without me not knowing.
Okay.
And
Oh, okay.
because you don't,
So,
it's not like a symptom that you get. It's not like, oh, my head hurts. It's a headache. You don't be like,
yeah.
ow, my kidney, it's not working.
Yeah.
Right.
Unless you
don't
get a
really
kidney
know.
shot, you
Yeah.
hear about getting hit in the kidneys or
Yeah.
something. And,
And what really triggered me to go get everything checked out back then, or like after all of this going on, was like I noticed that it's gonna be, might be TMI, but I'm sharing the whole experience because somebody might also be
well, it
going
might
through the
help
same thing.
somebody
Yeah,
for real.
it was peeing. I noticed that my pee had a lot of foam. When sometimes you pee, you see a foam. That's a protein.
Mm-hmm.
But it was like it's normal to see some, but mine was like filling up the whole bowl. Like,
You're like,
I was
nah,
like,
man.
yo,
Yeah.
that's a lot of like, something's not right.
Like you've been drinking soap or something.
Yeah,
Like,
it looked
no.
like it looked just like when you get soap and water and you shake it in the bottle, that foam cup. That's yeah, it was like that. So I go get checked out, and your kidneys are there. The percentage of it functioning is really low.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, okay, so it is. I'm gonna have to go on dialysis. Da, da, da. So I'm sitting there thinking, is this the reason why my brain every morning was always felt foggy, or why my certain moods or anxiety and everything was stemming from that? It affects all of that. So I was like, so my certain moods and everything like that is dealing with from kidneys. I'm like, yeah, your kidneys play a part in that. I'm like, okay. So that explains a lot of my mental things that I've been, dealing with.
Gotcha. So to go into
So
that a little bit more, so like you've been waking up, you've been feeling foggy, you kind of like for a while prior to 2017. So you just was
yeah,
sometimes
it was.
not feeling okay, but
Yeah,
you're thinking maybe,
that's what
hey man, I'm just getting old.
that's what I thought it was.
Or maybe I'm
Maybe
just
I just didn't get enough sleep.
there you go.
Maybe I just didn't, because I have sleep apnea too. So I'm like, maybe that's why I'm not getting good, legitimate quality sleep. I'm sleep deprived. And I was like, well, I'll be all right. Because ever since I
Yeah,
was a
yeah.
kid, I could run off on 2, 3 hours of sleep. I was always on the go. Like, because to me, it's like, when I got to work, and make money, la, da, da, da. I was on the go.
It ain't gonna work. Yep.
And so I thought I could do the
Yeah,
same
the
to
body
this.
says
I'm
no.
like, no, that your body is not gonna do that anymore. Because next thing you know, you start falling asleep during the day, falling asleep at work, being extra
It's like
tired,
driving drunk.
driving home,
Even more
and that's where it's
dangerous.
scary.
Yeah,
Driving
see, it's
tired.
even more dangerous actually.
You could- it's worse. It's worse. So I learned that at that one point, anytime I start to feel drowsy and get to that point, pull myself over and just to make sure that I wasn't tired anymore. And just before I driving home and everything like that. And obviously it was affecting my daily life. So your kidney issues affect everything about you. You're always thinking that something's wrong. You worry so much to the point where you're like, you start overthinking things. You're like, oh, my heart just fluttered. I just had a palpitation. I'm having a heart attack. And all of a sudden, next thing you know, it's like, oh, my heart is beating so loud. And you start, you don't realize it, but you're freaking yourself out. Next thing you know, you have a full-blown anxiety attack. And then I was like, what the hell is an anxiety attack? Why is my brain racing? Why is, and I've been dealing with this ever since that happened for 3, 4 years until now. And it's like, there was days when I just like, I'm so tired. I'm tired of thinking I'm going crazy. I'm tired of feeling I'm about to lose my mind. And what if I do something out of just pure emotion? Because I'm an emotional person. I act on emotion a lot. And freaking the hell out. Yeah, and it's like, I'm worried that, what if I, you know, hurt my leg and no one's around. I start thinking of worst case scenarios. Like
Like you talked about earlier, in your in episode 2, about how your anxiety, how it feeds into that. So you have this physical, ailment that's very real. Kidney function, stuff like that, diabetes, like things that are very real, and so that gives credence to all of a sudden that propensity that you have, towards anxiety. Now it gives us something to latch on to. Now it gives you something again to freak out. It's like fertile thing to just go to. It's like a go to anytime. Bang. If everything else is fine, clear blue sky today, birds are chirping, people walking dogs, you enjoying life. And all of a sudden, well, hey, you still got this thing wrong with you, and this could happen, and da 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 da. Man, that reminds me kind of of this episode of, like I said, the Healing is Gangsta, talking about this dude that was on house arrest, or on parole, and he had an ankle bracelet on, and he said that feeling of literally you can be brought to jail at any moment, the stress of that, everything could be going good, everything could be going good, and all of a sudden, boom, just because you could be taken back, and you lose your freedom at any moment, you know. And so again, what that does to the brain and the stress that causes, internally, it's a vicious cycle that I don't think really gets talked about enough. Again, this episode we're talking about physical ailments and how that, affects your mental health, but just chronic situations, whether it's again the risk of hospitalization, the risk of incarceration, the risk of an attack of some type, panic attack, anxiety attack. Whenever you have these things that really do, are real realities. Okay, these are not things that you're making up in your head. These are things and circumstances that you're actually going through. It really creates, again, fertile ground. It creates an atmosphere and an environment so that any mental things that you're going through, such as anxiety, such as depression, anything like that. If you have any type of addiction issues, if you have any type of whatever you're going through, that lack of control, you know, it's just a trigger for that. That lack of control is such a trigger for that, man. So, shout out to you, man, for fighting a good fight. Because you said it's 5 years, bro.
yeah, it's been a long.
You've been in this thing, and then at the time too, we talked about earlier in a previous show. I think it was episode 7. It was about you were smoking at the time too.
Yep. Yeah.
You were. I think when did you quit smoking again? What year was that?
It's been. I just remember I was like 26.
Okay, 26.
So it's been
okay. So
almost
yeah,
10 years now without a cigarette. So
Yeah, there you go, man. 10 years. But did they tell you, like as far as your kidney deterioration, did they tell you was this like genetic? Because I know some people are genetically predisposed to kidney conditions. There are things like that out there.
It can be.
Have family members.
It
like
can
that.
be, but in my particular situation, it was not genetics.
Okay.
Unfortunately, with me in my life, I have been the black sheep in my family. Like no one's diabetic. I am.
Wow.
My mom and my brother both have curly hair. I have straight hair. They're like 5'2" and under. I'm 5'9". Like anything that is the opposite of my family. Like they have a flatter nose. I have what my mom says an Americanized nose.
American.
Yeah, because it's not flat.
That's deep.
Apparently.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they both still have hair. I'm bald. Like
So you're your own guy, man. You're
pretty
an
much,
original.
and no one has heart issue or anything like that. I have a stent in my heart. I'm diabetic, high blood pressure. I was overweight, all this and that. Like I'm pretty much. My mom raised me too good with good food and too much loving. but
that pho though, man.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, that pho be popping.
Yeah.
No, I get it. But to your credit, man, you did work out. All right, Mino was that dude in the gym. All right, like I said, he was like 220,
I was
looking like the Raw. He was good. He was good. He was eating, but he was putting it
I
in.
was
But
getting there.
I think it's just like you said. When you're younger, though, you run your body really hard. Again, my mother would call it burning the candle at both ends. And I think we've all been guilty of that to a certain extent. Not getting enough sleep, not eating what you're supposed to be eating. We out here, we drinking, we partying, we doing whatever till whenever. and not really thinking about the toll that's maybe taking on us internally,
Mm-hmm.
by having to be passed out for like a week for you to go finally like
Yeah.
check up on yourself and bang your kidneys. How many of us are walking around with things that we need to check up on? I'm feeling real guilty because I have health insurance, but I ain't gonna lie to you, like I go to the doctor and get checked like I should.
And I will
That's
say this
real.
for for at least for the guys out there.
Yeah.
If you see your pee looking a little extra foamy,
Pay attention to
go
yourself,
get
fellas.
checked, man.
Yes.
Because it's not like you could. It's not like you could pinpoint something. I'm not saying that's the only sign to look out for. Kidneys is like a silent killer, kind of like how they say high blood pressure. You don't
How
feel
do you
it,
know? Yeah.
until it's almost too late. And it's and that was one of my biggest fears dealing with it mentally is knowing that I'm like, dude, I'm gonna die. Like what I got now is like I'm gonna die. My life is gonna be cut short, and that's all I kept thinking about. I'm gonna die. Oh, is it today? Because my heart doesn't feel right, or I'm out of breath a little sooner than I expected. Is today the day I'm gonna die? No one is home. I'm gonna die by myself. What's gonna be my last words? What's gonna be the things that last thing I said? To whoever. Like that's constantly going through my mind every single day. And what's make it worse is that I don't hang out with a lot of people anymore anyway. So it's like they don't care. So I'm getting all fake love. Oh, I hope you feel better. I'm sorry. It's like
They
you
can't
don't
relate.
care.
Yeah.
You don't like, and it makes it worse. Like, oh, look at how many people liked your stuff. I don't care. It's
Yeah, I
90
don't
people
either.
that liked it. 5 of those people are people I actually hang out with and actually would tell me that for real.
Mm-hmm.
And those are the 5 that didn't even like my post because they call me. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. How
it's
you
cool,
doing? Yeah. What's up?
And then they're like, well, then why you post? I'm like, because that's the only way I can keep in contact with my family. I'm not
Mm-hmm.
gonna text each individual person. Like
Especially
as
Facebook.
my,
Yeah, all of our
oh yeah,
families on Facebook. So if you want to send a message, that literally is the way to
And
do
it's like,
it.
why do you put all that your life up on there? It's like, cause I want to. Maybe if I say something wrong, learn from me. Don't do what I did. Don't put too much info. But me personally, I don't care.
And
Because one of my
sometimes,
biggest, because one of my biggest fears is that I'm gonna die and I got nothing to say to anybody. Well, you have it. What I said on Facebook. I'm out there now.
mm,
You know, it's not. I'm not just gonna be a forgotten family member who doesn't show up to family gatherings, who doesn't call a cousin who lives 5 minutes down the road to say, "Hey, how you doing?" Who has family across, in different states that don't even come visit you, but the moment they hear something good about you, oh, congratulations, this and that. Where were you on my birthday? Where were you when I thought
where
about
you was with
suicide?
that when I was
Where were
in.
you when this and that?
Mm-hmm.
It's sad to know that one of my closest friends, that like 3, 4, 5 of them, see me and talk to me more than my own family. But maybe
Boy,
that's my
that's too
fault
real.
because
What you just said was so real, man.
it's too real. Because and I always tell people just because we're blood related doesn't make us family.
Mm.
Like, oh, thank you for
No,
my aunt. Like my aunt and uncle had sex and you happen to be born into my family. Like,
yeah,
congratulations.
I don't know you. You feel me?
Like,
That is real.
yeah.
That's very real.
And
For what's crazy, you mentioned this because I just had a call with my family about our family reunion. I spoke on episode 3. One of the disappointments of 2020. I was supposed to host our family reunion, and boom, that got thwarted. And so now we're planning for this one this year, coming up in Georgia, and they literally talked about that. How like we got some younger members of the family that they're we got to reach out to literally because we don't know each other. We're excited to go hang out, but it's really just to see, okay, how are we related again? Because we don't really know. you know,
all right,
and that's the
you know,
truth, man.
and it's not a bad thing.
Yeah,
It's
it's
just how
just,
it is.
especially when you don't
It's
live in
just
the
how it
same
is.
place. Again, my family, we grew up
Right.
in Minnesota. Most of our family's in Chicago. We got people in Atlanta. We got people out in California. We got people. We don't. It's a different time, and it's not like back in the day with my parents when they all grew up with their cousins. My dad could talk
Yeah.
about the summer. They all grew up, all had, cousins around their same age, all, really grew up together. Now, I see my cousins digitally, just like I see everybody else.
It's sad, man. It's
It's
like
the truth.
it's crazy too, and it's like when you deal with mental health issues and physical, whatever, like real medical issues, it's a lonely road, man. So all the people that deal with maybe they deal with kidney issues like I do,
If
or
you're
other
what's
health
called now
issues,
high
for
risk,
example. Yeah,
that's
I'm
the
a high-risk
terminology
person,
in this post-COVID world. It's high risk.
and it's crazy because it is lonely, man. It's like my day to day I probably leave my house. The only time, like the past 2 months, I literally, no joke, only left my house to go to my doctor's appointment. Other than that, I'm in my room. My room's big enough for me to do a home
Mm-hmm.
workout, and I got my computer studio set
Mm-hmm.
up in my room, and I sleep. The only time I leave, go get to the kitchen,
Mm-hmm.
get food. Other than that, I'm back, but I'm by myself,
And
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 it's
it's
like,
cold.
it's, it's, yeah.
I'll say
So, the weather
exactly. It's
doesn't help,
cold. It's
but still,
Minnesota. Like December, January, February, March. You know.
still, people that know me or knew me, I was always on the go. I was always wanting to go do something, go hang out with somebody, go,
Mm-hmm.
just
Party
have fun,
bus.
man. And now it's like people see me now. I don't look the same. I don't really act the same. I do miss the old Mino because
Hey.
he was happy-go-lucky. Didn't really care about what people think or say,
Mm-hmm.
you know. And I'm slowly trying to get back there. But it's like, when you go through a relationship breakup and having to deal with life-changing events all within the span of a week, and knowing that your life's about to change for
Mm-hmm.
better or worse, I don't know,
And then.
man. The people that I support, relied on, is no longer there in my
Mm-hmm.
corner. So it's like, damn, I really gotta go through it alone. It's
You
lonely.
know what? And to your point, it's so sad because again, I knew you during that time. I'm gonna have some insight into this. I know who you're talking about even.
Hmm.
Um, to have built up that time with a relationship or again this is your whole fiance, and then for it to really be ending, and then that's usually the person or that what you've been spending these last few years building. That's what you want to rely on for this next rough phase, and to not have that there.
Right. And
You
and to
know,
think back.
again, yeah, not you're not the only person that goes through that, but that's tough. That's really tough because again, you put a lot out there. I do know the situation.
And another thing that makes it upsetting is that thinking back to all, like, even we never really fought. I'm not the type to argue and get in fights in a relationship, you know. And it's like, but at some point I was thinking, like, all the times that maybe she was upset about something that she didn't really voice, but
Hmm.
I noticed, and I'm
Yeah.
thinking, why did I do that, or why did I act like that? And to come to find that my anxiety played a role in it, my kidney issues played a role in it,
Your mind
where
was exact. There you go. You wasn't right
and
for
one
a
of the
while.
biggest things, what's weird in relationship, when you have kidney issues, your sex drive is not there.
Okay, we getting
All the
real.
creative juice that you're talking about trying to get romantic with your girlfriend, and you don't have the motivation or the care to do it, because mentally you're not there,
Hmm.
and then physically you don't have the energy to do
Hmm.
it, to do anything. So I was like, okay, that was what was missing. The person that she met in the beginning, I was fine. I was doing all
Hmm.
that. It's not that I got bored or the relationship got anything. I literally had no motivation to
Hmm.
do it. Like, and it affects you. And only people that deal with the kidney issues is gonna
Because
understand what
it's
I'm
a
talking
chemical
about.
thing,
The
right? Like
average person is
chemical
not gonna know.
imbalance type thing. Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Yes. Yes. And then on top of that, you're always tired. Chronic fatigue is another symptom.
Hmm.
And there's a whole list. If you guys look up what the kidney affects, it shows the whole body anatomy, and it tells you each part and why it affects that and all that. Your hands, your knees, your liver, your heart, your lungs, your everything, your brain. Like, it affects everything, man. And and I look at my relationship, it was like, it didn't not only take a lot of things I enjoy away, it's like it ruined my relationship
Hmm.
too. Like, of course, if you're in a relationship and you can't be romantic or even have the energy to do it, what's the other person to think?
Yeah,
'Cause
absolutely.
especially, I didn't really tell her what's going on either. So she's just thinking I'm just bored and just want to sit and do nothing.
Hmm.
In actuality, I physically couldn't and didn't want to. As men, we can't show women that we're
Nope.
weak. Like, you can't just like, oh, I'm tired. This and that. No, you can't do that.
Hmm.
And when you're actually going through it, you don't know what's going
Hmm.
on. You just think it's just another day. I'll just relax here today. I'll feel better tomorrow.
Yeah.
No, this is from here on out until you get a new kidney.
Hmm.
And so when the relationship ended, I was like, so dealing with that, and it's pretty much I lost my best friend, man. Like, at that time, she was my
Yeah.
best friend. Like, that's who you share everything with. Anything that's going on, that's who you depend
Hmm.
on and count on. But that person is not there anymore.
Hmm.
It's done. You know. So then you gotta get over that mental hump. Like, damn. Usually when I feel like this, she's the one I
Yep.
call. She's the one I talk to.
Hmm.
And, it's like when you're in a relationship, you don't really, it just happens, but you don't have to talk to your friends like you used to. You don't hang out with your
That's
friends like you
facts. You
used
have a
to.
different lifestyle, and
You
again,
know, yeah,
again,
it's
and you
different.
lived with her, you know what I'm saying, and everything like that. So your life
Hmm.
becomes together. Again, I only briefly, recently, took that step and lived with my significant other. Didn't last long, and I'm in therapy. But no, in all seriousness, um, you are 100% correct because again, when we talk a big theme of this show, we've talked about it a few times, was dealing with loss. Again, the loss of an idea, the loss of okay, even if I'm going through something, this person's going to be with me. We have contingency plans. We have things in our mind that we use to make sense. Okay, if this happens, this is going to happen. Okay, I've done this, so I can expect this to happen. And then all of a sudden, it can go change so quickly. We can go from planning and thinking about 10 years ahead in life. Oh man, I got to engage. What are we going to have like in 10 years? Now all of a sudden, a doctor giving you a report that you're not guaranteed 10 years. And again, telling this to a young man still, you were in your 20s, late 20s at the time. So that's just, that's a complete, mind F for lack of a better word. And so but it's something that again going through this while in a relationship too, because again we talk about this mental health and physical health and all this stuff, correct? Like it's just us there, but no, we're actually interacting with people. Again, one of my catalysts for doing this was me promising my ex and her mom that I was gonna go get therapy because I saw myself similar to you. That dang, why is that drive not there? What's wrong? Something. I'm with this person, they're loving me, and da da da, and I'm not there. I'm not where I need to be. I'm not as present, mentally, physically, and what's going on. And for it to, and you feel guilty because you don't want that person to think it's them, you know. And so in balancing that, man, and you feel guilty, you feel bad for feeling bad.
Exactly, and
It's a cycle, man.
it's crazy too, because when you're going through it, it's just for me. I just felt like, oh, why you always nagging me? Let me chill, Like I go to work, I do this and that, But in all actuality, I was doing less and less and not really realizing it. And it's like, what sucks is that it was literally not. I was like, I saw what's going on, but I just the motivation and all that just didn't care anymore. Like I had to figure out what was going on with me. So but later on, I was like, it took so long to get over certain things that I had to deal with. I know now no longer make as much money as I used to. I can't pursue the things I wanted to pursue or had plans to. I had to give it up. At least for now is what I tell myself. It's like I can't play that victim card, I can't sit there and be like, why me? Yeah, why me? Like why do I gotta go through all this? But then I only really technically have myself to blame. You know.
I mean, in a way, I get where you're coming from with that, and that's a healthy way to look at it, to not be like just a victim, because nobody likes the victim mentality, even if that's what you're going through. If you are a victim of something, that mentality doesn't help, keeps you stagnant and keeps you from not going forward. So I definitely commend you for having the right attitude about that, but at the same time, you don't want to, because you don't know exactly what set it off. Like I said, I know we was partying, we was doing our thing, in our 20s, but it's like, hey man, if that's the case, that could have happened to me. You know what I'm saying?
Pickle Park.
Pickle. Oh my
Yo,
goodness! No, you
yes.
did
Let
not.
me shout out Pickle
Yo, he
Park.
just brought up the
Oh my
Minnesota people,
God.
northern. What was it? The northern suburbs. That it's not Blaine. That's like Fridley or
It
something
was like
like that.
I think
Something
it was
like
on
that, man.
Blaine,
Yes,
man.
ladies'
Yeah,
night there.
Fridley.
Yeah, man. Shout out. Woo.
Yo.
Lots of ladies' night there. Lots of drinking. Lots of overindulging in those
Oh
days. Again, dealing in
man.
a high stress environment in the sales world, young kids not having no responsibilities yet,
You gotta celebrate.
blowing off a whole lot of steam every weekend, every chance we got. And so I think again, I understand but hey man, and in a sense we could have brought a lot of things onto ourselves. One thing I've learned from kind of the homework that I've been given from my therapist, you know, some of the stuff I've been reading, it's not really, the question isn't necessarily, why did I get sick? It's why now, Because we all have predispositions, genetic predispositions, things that run in our family, environmental factors that we're exposed to certain things. And some people get sick and some people don't. It affects some people and it doesn't. And that's what we need to really start looking at more. Not just, okay, why did I get sick? Well, why now? That, like, what's the timing of it? You know, There's a there, as they say. You know, these things happen. Um, you know, usually there's a trigger. You know, usually, you know, something sets it off. You mentioned it again, trying a substance too young, set off a trigger in you. You know, like I said, um, epigenetics that you know, Rupert Misick talked about. These certain things in the environment that set off triggers to activate things at certain times. And so, yeah, man, I don't ever want you to feel guilty, like, oh man, I brought this on my man. We don't know what we know now. If we were meditating and living stress-free lives and all this other stuff, maybe we could have
That's another
thought, you
thing,
know.
man. Like,
Yeah, but you know, we
even
weren't on that at the time. We were just
no,
really
I was just about get money, go have fun.
straight up, and that's what we was on in our 20s. Like,
And that's the thing. That's what you're supposed to do.
yeah, we wasn't doing nothing wrong.
No, that's another thing that, like, literally my mindset had to change, man. Like, for me, like, chronic pain is another thing that I deal with every day. I wake up, and it's not like just like if I go work out, I can't work out like I used to, but maybe I'll do shadow boxing for like 15 minutes. Good cardio, get my body moving, get your blood flowing,
Yeah, shadow boxing people try it.
and I I would have a good session. Next day, my back would hurt so bad to the point where I felt like I did nothing but deadlifts and back workouts for hours. And it's not like a sore, like, oh, you just wussy. No, I better stop saying that because that's if you don't know,
Yeah,
don't talk
yeah,
about it. So it's like this back pain for all the people that are saying, oh, you're just a sissy. I hope that you feel what I feel one day.
better shut your mouth, don't you don't want
That's
because
all I
back
gotta
pain.
say.
You're right. That's the core. That's what I'm saying. You can't do nothing without your back.
Yeah, and it's crazy because it's like you deal with so much pain, and it's like, man, I used to love the soreness. I used to be at the gym. My friends would tell you, I'd be the one be like, oh man, it hurts so good. Let's go another round,
Yeah, it's the Asian rock over here. This is that
and
dude over
you
there.
know, and the mental like game it plays on you, like to go from someone that used to bench, I don't know, on a good day I could bench 200. I wasn't a big bencher, but if I
Yeah,
could bench 200 back then, cool. Now I
yeah,
can
just
barely
rep it out.
do. Doing the bar is good enough for me. That's 45 pounds. And another thing that for me is like I normally walk around between 210, 220. After my kidney issues and everything, guys, I'm down to 160.
Crazy.
My strength is gone. My muscle, like it's slowly, I'm slowly, I would, negative spin out, be like I'm slowly wasting away. But it's like,
You going through it, bro.
yeah, I'm
You in
like
this fight,
every
man. You
day
going through it.
there's pain. If it's not my back, it's my leg. It'll hurt to the point where I can't even walk. I have to limp everywhere, man. And there's some days, mentally, man, it's draining because like, man, why can't I just have a day where I just feel at least normal enough to just get up and walk around without limping or, holding my back up and, just days where I'm just like so mentally tired. I don't want to deal with the physical pain. Like I just want to lay in bed.
You don't want to be reminded of it anymore. One day that just doesn't remind you. Like, could you forget that you
Right.
got the kidney issue or the back issue or the whatever? Could you do something, boom, and all of a sudden, hey, man, like I didn't even feel that. Or, oh yeah, by the that's the problem I mentioned earlier. It's that constant reminder. It's like having being on parole or something. Having an ankle bracelet on. Anytime they get ready, doot, we can put you, take your freedom away. All right, time to go to the hospital. Time to get locked up. Time to whatever. Um, the mental toll, man, that
And
really takes.
it's like that's why you see people that go through stuff. Like it's so tempting. Just be like, I give up. Come take me, because it feel better to not feel anything, and all of a sudden it starts spiraling, and you start thinking negative things like, man, I'm such a worthless person. Like, look at me. I'm still at home with my mom who's trying to retire but has to keep working because of me. You start thinking negative thoughts.
That's the narrative again. The narrative you tell yourself. When in reality, that's maybe not the truth. The reality is she has to working because she has to keep working. Most people do.
Man,
You feel me?
and it's like, and it
but
sucks because
I get
like
it.
every time I look at my mom, I want to cry. It's just like
Oh,
that,
come
man. Like, because that's how, like, even when I was in the hospital, she was the only one there.
Mm-hmm.
Even my brother's wife, who I don't say that, who I dislike,
Yeah, this is on record for a while. Yeah, thank you.
who I
Yes, this is
dislike,
on
and I don't
wax.
care if she hears it because it's the damn truth.
Yeah, I
I
know.
do not like you. I don't know what I did to you for you to treat me like a piece of shh. But, you know, even she showed up to my hospital bed. Yeah, while I was in the hospital.
Shout out to her. Hey, family, man. You don't
You
gotta
know,
always get along, but you showed up. So shout out to
and
you.
yeah, so she was always there. And there was a moment while I was in the hospital before I started dialysis and everything. I remember waking up at like 2 or 3 in the morning, and I looked over to the right, and she's sleeping on it was uncomfortable sofa that I have in my room. And my fever would not break, and I was so cold, and I couldn't talk. I had to press the emergency button, and I started shivering. All the doctors and nurse came rolling in, trying to put this electric blanket on me. And I remember I was shaking so hard that I couldn't even speak. And I remember thinking, this is it. I'm about to die right here. And my mom next to me, I can't talk. I'm so cold, I'm shaking. And I was so tired at the same time. Like, if I just close my eyes and just let it go, no more, like no more pain. And I passed out. Next thing I know, I wake up, I'm drenched in sweat. My body finally broke the fever. I had to press the emergency button again to help them come take all this like blankets and all this stuff off me. And I was just drenched. They had to, wash me off and everything like that. And at that point, I was like, all right, that was a moment of weakness. And why did I decide that I want to give up at that point? I don't know. But I was just so tired of everything. I was like, if I didn't die, then I'm still here. I'm still going to fight. That's all I can say. And my mom wakes up and she says, are you okay? And I just broke down. That was the first time I cried in front of my mom since I was a little kid. And I was just like, I don't know if I can do this. Like, everything is just gone and taken away. Like my whole life's about to change. Like, I die. And I was like, I'm still here. And my mom's just like, it's not cancer, so you can still fight. And she can't really explain things to me. We know enough of the language. I know enough of the language for her to just speak it, and I would understand.
Yeah.
But when I talk back to her, it's like broken Lao. So it's like a little bit of what, you know what I mean? But it was like she was explaining it the best that she can to me. Pretty much saying it's not cancer. You still have this, you're still going to get a transplant. You just have to be patient.
Yeah, she's looking at the hope glass half full side. Of course, mom's gonna
Always,
be like,
bro.
of course, that's what mama
Always,
do.
she's always like that. Like if anybody's ever met my mom, you speak to her in English, you're going to get two things. You're going to get a constant smiley face and a head nod all the time as she talks to you. And so, she's always like that, where she's always looking at the positive. And it'll be the simplest thing, too, because I'll be pissed because I'm in so much pain, and she just happens to be there, and I end up taking her, and I feel like such a dirtbag. But she knows that, and she knows how I feel. But sometimes the anger that I project towards her, she doesn't deserve, and I always end up apologizing. But I shouldn't be doing that in the first place. But anyone knows that you have a mom, your parents are the only people that can really make you mad out of nowhere for, you get a short temper with your parents. But, I mean, she did everything, for me, and I'm always going to be grateful. She's everything. So, but for me, mentally at that time, to get over that hump was one of the hardest things ever.
Ooh, okay.
And to know that my ex already had somebody moving in where I was sleeping within a couple months, that hurt.
See,
So,
yeah, that's deep, brother.
you
That's getting real personal right there because
and
yeah,
I've never, I wouldn't say never, but it's always seems like the girls are the ones that always move on so quick. You know why?
you know what? There's something to that.
Because women can get men
There's something to that, man.
without trying.
Especially now, you know what? There's something to that. So again, that's a subject for another show. We got a little personal on that one, but it's the truth. They can move on very quickly. There's a concept of monkey branching. They don't let go of one branch till they got another one.
But I don't want women to think that I only think women are like that. Just
No,
let me.
no, this is a very
It's just-
specific, personal.
Yeah,
We're talking
specific
very
people.
personal. Yeah.
will do that. I'm sure guys do that to girls too. I hear it all the time back in high school when it's like, oh, he broke up with me. He's already with this girl. Like,
But again, the point is, all right, it's bad enough to be dealing with those realities that you got to go with. You got balancing the actual life, the relationship to the point of being fiancé, da da da, and then on top of that, bang, while you're about to go through this, life changing event, you know, to not have that person there, anymore, man. That's
your professional career too. All the plans I
yeah,
had, trying to pursue certain things, everything like
sales
that's
master.
taken away. And another thing is financially. You go from making good money to I get disability checks from the government.
And in control of your money too, and that's a different thing. That's the truth, man. I definitely feel you on that, bro. Because and it is unfortunate, but it's real. Especially as men, we're tied to how much money we make, our production. Producing. It just is what it is, man.
What was that the quote that you told
Um,
me? That it was like only two, like only women and dogs.
no, that was
Oh,
that
Chris
was
Rock.
Chris Rock. No, that's Chris Rock. No, that's Chris Rock. I can't even take like he said. Only two things are loved unconditionally in this world. That's women and dogs.
Say that again.
Okay. Only two things are loved unconditionally: women and dogs. Because in this sense, like, I don't want anybody to get offended, but you'll understand that like in this world, the reality is that you have inherent value. Just by the virtue of you being a woman, it specifically means something. It attaches to a certain amount of respect, pride, worth, value, to the point of even protection. To the point that hey, we as men should be protecting. You know, I don't know you from Adam or whatever or Eve, and I see you in trouble. I, as a man, am supposed to actually, help you, as a woman, to have that inherent value. And then, of course, we would have to speak about dogs, man. Two words, Michael Vick. Okay, um, yes, okay. The inherent value, protection. How dare you touch this sacred thing that ain't hurting nobody? There's no such thing as a bad dog. There's a bad owner. Those type of things. All right, all those caveats, inherent value as a guy, yo, man, it's not there like that. Okay, it's just not. It's just not as a man. It's just good, bad. If it should be, whatever it is, the reality is no. We got to earn, ourselves into being, respected, and
Only a man can work his many many years off for a house, cars, and marry somebody. All in the end to get in the argument, and we gotta leave our
it can
house,
go away that fast.
leave our
Yeah,
cars,
it could go, yeah, just that quickly. That's the truth.
and it's not even split. The guy's lucky if he gets the car out of the
But
deal. He has to give up
but
the house he pays for.
yeah, no, I seen
Like
it happen to a
you know what I
coworker of
mean?
mine. Again, this is obviously a different subject. We tangent a little bit, people, but there was a guy I was working with years ago. Man, he was in, leader of the department and kind of the sales team. Really cool guy, man. Name's Charlie. That doesn't give much away. Pretty common name. And we had one of those company, events where everybody brings the couples and stuff like that. That's where you get to meet the wives. So I met, saw his wife, saw the family. Everything looked good. Literally, maybe 2 weeks later, all of a sudden he's like, going through a lot of stress because he had to his wife said, get a divorce. She wants a divorce and to sell the house. He had to sell the house now all of a sudden. Perfectly normal living conditions, house, da, da, da. But because of this situation, the decision was made. Now life is upended. And I just felt, terrible for him. Like, wow, to have to be going through that right now. And again, I don't know their personal business. I'm not saying he was the greatest husband. I have no idea. That could be a perfectly valid reason for their divorce. But the fact is, out of seemingly for whatever reason, hey, life can be, or your relationship specifically, it seems like it can disappear very quickly. And to your point earlier, man, only a man like goes through these things and takes these risks because, I said it on the Never Legal podcast, but I didn't quote it correctly. But it's from it's from Friedrich Nietzsche. And he says, he who has a why can bear almost any how. He who has a why to live can bear almost any how. So if you have, people do everything for their family. People have, literally that protect, provide that instinct to do everything for the family, for the generations, to feel like the man, all of that stuff. That drive, if that's you have that why, then you endure terrible working conditions. You endure, working yourself into the grave. You endure, maybe not getting to enjoy the life, providing for everybody else that maybe you don't even get to enjoy. And the stress that you take on because of that, maybe you have addictions, bad habits, drinking too much, have, diseases at an earlier age, don't live as long. But it's like, guys, it's it because there's a reason behind it. Even if it's not the greatest reason, as long as you have a reason, as a person, period, then you endure all the bad stuff. You endure whatever it takes to get to that goal or that reason, even if it kills you. But then at the end of the day, nobody makes it out of this thing alive, too. So
And I do, before we close out, I do want to get this off my chest and just say this. I don't want people to think that
speak on
my ex, is a bad person or anything. For me, at the end of the day, I just want her to be happy, and if she is, great. You know, and it's unfortunate that our time together ended. I'm okay now. And I just want, I wish her the best. I want her to be happy and continue to find happiness in whatever she is doing. For me, guys, no longer. I am waiting on the transplant list. It's been I am a O positive blood type. So if anyone out there
Okay.
is a donor, that is what my blood type is. But how it all works is
Awesome, man.
O's can only get from another O. We're known as universal donors. So for people out there that are
Never heard
waiting a
of that.
transplant or is looking to even look into being donors for other people, that's how blood types work. If you're O, unfortunately you can only get from O. And because of my situation, they consider it a rare blood type. So the average wait time is usually 6 to 7 years. I've been on the waiting list for 4, so closing in. We're halfway.
All right, we there, baby. We getting
Yeah.
there.
But every day there's something new. Every day I'm not as consistent as I want to be, but it's been getting better. So for me, I'm just doing everything I can every day, and it does take a mental toll. So for people that deal with it, just keep fighting, man. It's worth it when you get those days when everything goes according to plan. And I just remind myself that those are the days I wait for and look forward to. Um, and it's getting better. So I just try to keep my head up, surround myself with people that love and care about me, and stay positive and stay in the fight, man. It's not over till it's over. So you might as well enjoy the ride.
Amen to that. Absolutely, bro. Shout out to you. Um, Shout out to everybody that's going through it. Okay,
Yes.
aka through. There's movement. This is a dynamic thing. We're not staying stagnant in the place that we are. That is our privilege as man, as in mankind, not gender, but just as man, we have the ability to change at any time. you know I grew up in the Christian faith, and so we literally have a whole thing about that hey man, you can change at any time. The thief on the cross, story is literally, hey, on your deathbed, even up until you on the other side of this earth, as long as you're on this side of this earth, you have the opportunity to do better. You have the opportunity to change. You have the opportunity to choose your attitude. That's one thing nobody can take away from you. Again, I've been reading this book called Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl, and chronicles himself going through concentration camps, during World War II, and seeing the limits to what the body can endure, the extremes of living, you know, and literally, we're such resilient people, man. We're such resilient people, and as long as you have that will and that attitude to fight, nobody can take that away from you, no matter what this world brings at you, whether it's through people, whether it's through, again, bodily ailments, mental ailments. You have the choice to choose how you deal with it. You get to choose your attitude and how you get to um, who you get to see in that mirror every day when you look into it. We get to choose how we see ourselves and who we are. And so, man, that's what I want to encourage you guys to do. That, man, choose. You know what I'm saying? Choose. You're not a victim of your circumstances. You just have different. You always got choices. You're a product of your choices. You're a product of your attitude. And dang it, hey man, if you're listening to this show, this is a step in that right direction to keep your mind healthy, and to let you know that we going through it with you. This is a community.
Yeah, and at the end
You
of the
know.
day, it's you got you, man. No one else is gonna get you the way you do. So,
Hmm.
and that's gonna wrap it up for this week. I mean, next week we touched
Love
it.
yourselves.
Yeah, we talked a little bit about it. We're gonna be talking about employment and career issues and how that
Hmm.
affects the mind as well. So,
Everything's funny but the money, bro. I
yeah,
swear,
right.
man. You see them gas
Woo
prices?
wee.
Yeah, I'm talking about. Yeah, man. You not leaving the house, man. That might be a smart idea for a little bit, bro. These
And
gas
one
prices.
more thing before we leave, speaking of the gas prices, it just reminded me, if we have any
Mm.
listeners over there, prayers out to Ukraine. Stay
Yeah, man.
strong. A lot
Ukrainians.
of things going on right now, man. Where's the love, man? We just want to live in peace and have fun. So,
Yeah, man. We're about peace, man. It's peace over here,
yes,
man. So blessings to all those very strong people, and again to the good people
exactly.
of Russia as well, man. Because this is a military thing. There's citizens over there that ain't got nothing to do with this. Again, so that's why we want to just say, hey, man, we pray for peace.
Nobody wants the
And then,
war.
can we all just get along? Nobody wants that war, man. So we're doing a little battle of the mind. That's the warfare we need to be doing. Okay, we got enough war. The biggest battle we're ever gonna face is right between these ears of ours. It's right upstairs. The battle of the mind, man. And so let's focus on that.
Yes.
And again, prayers up for all the people that are going through that conflict overseas. So with that, man, thank you for
Yeah,
joining us
episode
for
10.
episode 10, man. Thank you for joining us. I'm still excited about it, man. So thank you so much, and we will see you next week.